Hello guys, welcome back to Mr. Deep Coding channel. Now this is another episode of the Kotlin Multiplatform social media app series. In today's episode, we are going to work on the post editor screen. Now since this post editor screen is huge and requires a lot of features to be combined together, we are going to divide this episode into two parts. In the first part, we are going to fetch the post and we'll also fetch the comment. Then in the second part, we are going to work on adding and removing comments. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. Alright, now let's go and expand the post package, then open PostDetailViewModel.kt. Now in the constructor, we are going to take the getPost use case. Then you can scroll down and we need to make this true by default. Okay, and then we can scroll up inside the fetchData method. Okay, let's get rid of this. We can also remove this. Okay, so note here that we are already inside a coroutine, so we will go ahead and directly call getPost use case. We'll create for that a var result inside this one expression to check for when the result is successful or when the result is error. So if we have got a successful result, we will call postUIState equal postUIState.copy. Is loading will be set to false. And for the post, we will call result.data. If instead we got an error, in that case, we will do postUIState.copy. Is loading will be false, and we will set the error message to be equal to result.message. Now, note here that postUIState for now expect a sample post, but here it found a post. So let's go ahead and change that. So here we should take post from our domain package, this one here. Then one more thing, post ID should be a long, not a string. Okay, before we test the getPost use case, we will go ahead and, like we always do, let's create a UI action seed interface. So right below the comment UI state, so here we're going to declare a seed interface, and this one is going to be named as post detail UI action. Now here we will define a data class fetch post action. Of course, this is going to take a post ID. As for now, this is the only UI action that we are going to have. So you can scroll up below the fetch data. We will have a onUI action method. So we will have this method onUI action. Then we will check when the action is post detail UI action, we are going to call a fetch data. Okay, because now we have this onUI action, we can make fetch data private. Then we will go ahead and open postdetail.kt. Okay, now fetch data from the view model is no longer accessible. Let's go ahead and open PostDetailScreen. Now from here, of course, we will remove fetch data. Instead, we are going to take onUI action. We will also take the post ID. Alright, now you can scroll down, and because we are taking the post from our domain model, we don't need to convert that to domain post anymore. Okay, so let's scroll down here. We will need to call onUI action, and we will pass our post detail UI action dot fetch post action, and we'll pass the post ID. Alright, and now we will do the same here. So we will call onUI action, and then we need to pass post detail UI action dot fetch post action. Then we'll pass the post ID. Okay, so then let's scroll down, and the preview also is broken here. So we need to pass onUI action, and we'll pass an empty lambda. And for the post ID, we will just pass 1. Of course, now sample post dot first need to be converted. You can convert that to a domain post like this. Alright, now let's go back in postdetail.kt. Now here, of course, we'll need to pass onUI action, viewModel.onUI action, and then we will also need to pass the post ID. Okay, so it seems I forgot to make this long, so this doesn't need to be a string. So I will go ahead and rebuild my project and make sure that the caller of this post detail destination is passing a long instead of a string. So you can do that on your own, or you can always look at my GitHub repository for further references. Alright guys, now I've got my device already connected. Let's go ahead and test the getPost use case. Okay, there we go. We have retrieved some post. Let me try to click on this. Okay, so we have this default comment. So actually what you can see is that instead of showing the loading spinner, it actually shows the error view. and then it fetches the post and displays it here. All right. So let's go inside PostDetailScreen and fix that quickly. All right, now since we have set the isLoading to be true by default and the isLoading for comment UI state is false, then the circular progress indicator, this view here will not be shown because this is false and this is true. So we just need to leave this single condition, post UI state.isLoading. So this way we will be able to see the circular progress indicator. All right, so let's now try to click on this post again. There we go. Now you can see the progress indicator, the loading spinner that shows before we fetch our post. Okay, so the get post use case is working perfectly. Now, next we are going to fetch comment because as you can see, our post actually has 2 comments. These are comments I added when I was working with the demo project because they are both linked to the same Kto server. Okay guys, now to retrieve the post comment, we will need to get the get post comment use case. So we have our get post comment use case here. We need to import this get post comment use case. Then below comment UI state. So here we are going to declare let init var paging manager. Also let's import paging manager. All right, now then you can scroll down and below fetch data, we need to define a new method that we will name create paging manager. Now this needs to return an instance of paging manager. Okay, then from here we will return our default paging manager. Okay, so here the first lambda that we need to pass is for the on request. So for the on request, we will call a get post comment use case. We will pass the post ID, that should be passed here. The page, this is the page that we get. And for the page size, we will just call our default request page size. Or let me create another constant for the comment. So we'll call this a default request comment page size. And let's set this to 5. So here we will call default request comment page size. Okay, so after the on request, we are going to pass the on success lambda. Now for on success, we of course get this page of comment. Then we call comment UI state.copy and we set the comment to be equal to comment UI state.comment plus this newly fetched page of comment. All right, so after the on success, for the on error message, okay, let's get this suggestion from the AI. So we will set our comment UI state.copy. The error message should be the error that is going to be passed here. Let's pass the message here. Okay, so then we need to pass the last callback on load state change. And for that, we're just going to comment UI state.copy and set the isLoading to this isLoading that will be passed here. You can see that we are now getting another error. It requires a list of page and it found a list of any. Right, so let's scroll down and from here, we need to take post comment from our domain package in the shared module. Okay, so you can see that the error is gone now. Right above this create paging manager. All right, so in here, we are going to define a new method that we will call fetch post comment that should take the post ID. Then it's going to verify if comment UI state is loading or comment UI state that comment is not empty. We need to make sure that this method is called only once when we need to fetch the first page of comment. So if the comment UI state that is loading or the list of comment is not empty, we need to return. And then we are going to check if the paging manager is not initialized. In that case, we are going to call create paging manager. And lastly, we will call paging manager dot load items. All right, now this fetch post comment will be called when we get a successful result after we fetch the post. So here in the result.success, we need to make sure that after setting the post UI state, we can call fetch post comment. Let's go ahead and open PostDetailScreen. Okay, so it seems that we are getting an error, of course, because now comment UI state needs to be passed post comment. So we need to map each comment to the main comment. So let's see. Okay, for now we don't have a method. Let's add that quickly. All right, so in here we are going to define to domain comment, and we need to return an instance of post comment for the post ID. So we can simply convert this from string to long. Okay, now to quickly get rid of this error, we can also just hash code this. All right, so let's quickly close comment.kt. Here also the error is gone. I will scroll up, and now we need to use comment UI state to set our list of comment. We will replace this sample comment and call comment UI state.comment. And from here, we need to call comment ID. All right, so in here it says it requires comment and it found comment and it found post comment. So let's quickly open comment list item. We should now take here post comment. And then for comment.author image URL, this is now user image URL. We need to convert that to current URL. This is the user ID instead of author ID. Okay, so for on profile click, the user ID is no longer an integer but a long. All right, then let's scroll down, and here we need to replace with username. And here it's created at. And then for here it's comment.content. And we need here to convert to domain comment. Then we can close this and we'll get rid of this error. All right, and now right below this items block, now here we will check to see if comment UI state is loading. And in that case, we will add an item for the loading spinner. So we'll have this item with loading more item for the key. All right, now before we test our get post comment use case, we need to open app module, and here we will pass another dependency for the get post comment use case. All right, now let's run and test the get post comment use case. All right, so let's quickly click on this first post here and see if we can retrieve our two comments. You can see we have that loading spinner down, and here are our comments that were added with this account here. And we can see that the profile image is not showing for this comment. Let's try to go back and click on another post. For example, this one. Okay, now this time you can see that these are the comments added by Mr. Deep. Okay, actually we were able to retrieve our first page of comment. All right, so next we are going to add the load more comment functionality, because for now we are just retrieving the first page of comment. All right, guys, now back inside PostDetailViewModel.kt, we need to scroll down, and inside comment UI state, we need to add one more property, and that is the end reached. And we will set this boolean by default to be false. Then we can scroll up right above create paging manager. We will define another method. This is to load more post. All right, so we will have this load more comment that first checks if comment UI state.end has been reached. If that's true, we need to return. Otherwise, we will call view model scope.launch to launch a new coroutine, and then call paging manager.load items. All right, then we are again going to scroll down. In our post detail UI action, we need to add one more UI action. Now, this is to not to fetch comment, but we'll have here a data object for the load more comment. We'll take this one, load more comment action, and then coming here, we need to add this other case for the post detail UI action dot is load more comment action. And if that's true, we need to call load more comment. All right, now we can go inside post detail screen. Okay, guys, now we can scroll up, and we are going to define our lazy list state and also the should fetch more comment derived state. Now, if you watched my previous videos, you already know what's going on here. So we have this lazy list state for which we call remember lazy list state, and we have a derived state from the lazy list state that we call should fetch more comments. Now, for this to fetch more comments, we first get the layout info, and then we get the visible items info. In our lazy column, we will get the last visible item and check if its index +1 equals to the total item count, means if the last comment is visible on screen, and in that case we need to load more comment. So then we can scroll right below Right below this launch effect, we will need another launch effect. Now this is for should fetch more comment. Let's take this suggestion. So we will check if should fetch more comment, and also we need to check if comment UI state dot not is not loading but end is not reached. If we haven't reached the end of our comment UI state, in that case we need to call on UI action post detail UI action dot fetch post comment. Now one more thing, we can go inside post detail view model. And right here, when we receive a success call, here we need to set the condition for the end reached. We will set the condition to be if comment.size. If this is less than our constant.default request comment page size, in that case, we will say that we cannot load any more posts, any more comments. Okay guys, now let me go ahead and just set the default request comment page size to be 2. And that way we will see if we are able to retrieve another page of comment. And before we run and test our application, let's go back inside PostDetailScreen. We need to pass the lazy list state to our lazy column here. So we will pass the list state. The state will be our list state. Right, and then we can run and test our application. Now, of course, I've added 2 more comments on this post here. So let's go ahead and click on this post. We should load the first 2 comments, and then if I scroll down, okay, we cannot see the loading spinner. Okay guys, now maybe you should have noticed that here it shouldn't be fetch post action. I think I should pay more attention to what the AI is suggesting as code here. So it's not fetch post action, it's load more comment action, and we don't even need this or the parentheses. All right, so the action here is load more comment instead of fetch post action. So let's go ahead and rerun our application. All right, so let's click on this first post. All right, so now we can try to scroll down, and as you can see, we are now loading another page of post. Then the end has been reached and we cannot load any more comments. You will hear me say page of post, but I'm actually referring to comments. Sorry guys. All right guys, now before we close this first part of post detail screen, we will add the like post functionality. Alright, now back inside post detail view model, adding the post functionality is something that you should already be familiar from now. Like or dislike post use case, we need to take this inside our post detail view model constructor. Then we can scroll down and let's say right above the on UI action. Now here, of course, I will first define this method update post because we will need this for the remaining part. So this takes in a post and it just set the post inside our post UI state. Then above this update post method, here we will define a method that you are already used to. We call this like or dislike post, and it takes in a post, then it launches a coroutine. Then we have this val count for when the post is already liked, then we just need to decrement the like count. And if the post was not liked by this user, we need to set the count to be +1. Then we have this updated post where we just toggle the is liked property, and then we add the count, and then we call update post to set our post UI state post. After that, we will define a val result and call like or dislike post use case. We will pass in the post, and then when the result is error, we just roll back to our previous post, the post that was passed here without these changes. If the result is successful, in that case we call our event bus and send this new event post updated, and we need to pass here the updated post. Alright, now because from our post detail screen we may also navigate away and then come back, we will need in the init block to listen for post event. So here we have our init block, and in here we are going to call our event bus dot event. Then on each emission, if it's post updated, we need to call our update post method and we'll pass the post, and we need to launch this inside our view model scope. Now I guess we need to open app module.kt and call get for coin to pass that dependency, the like or dislike post use case. Now let's run our application and test. Oh, yes. Of course, we are not going to test that yet because I'm not sure if we pass the on UI action like post UI action. First, we'll need to go inside post detail view model. We don't have that action here, so we will take the like or dislike post action. Now, this is our post detail UI action. Then coming here inside on UI action, we will need another case for the like or dislike post action. All right, so then we need to go inside post detail screen, and in this item block where we add our post list item for the on like click, we need to call on UI action, then post detail UI action dot like or dislike post action, and from here we need to pass 8, I guess. Okay, so now let's run and test our application. All right, so we will go ahead and click on this post here. Okay, let's try to dislike the post. Right now the post was set to 0, the likes count. And when we come back here, you can see that this also was set to 0. We can click there again and we will try to like the post, and if we go back, you can see that here the post was also updated. Okay, I will try to scroll down and let's go ahead and open this post. All right, so we will like here again, and as you can see, this post also was updated. Okay guys, now that's it for this first part of the post detail screen episode. In the next part, we are going to work on the add and remove comment functionality. We already wrote the shared code for that. Okay, so I will see you in the next part. As for now, take care. Bye.